Federal pardons in the United States are granted only by the United States President pursuant to their authority under the U.S. Constitution, Article 2, Section 2, to grant repieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, which means state crimes do not apply. Pardons extend to all federal criminal offenses except in the case of impeachment, and entail various forms of clemency, including commuting or postponing a sentence, remitting a fine or restitution, delaying the imposition of a punishment, and providing amnesty to an entire group or class of individuals. The pardon power extends to cases involving courts-martial against members of the United States Armed Forces, including the Army, Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force.
Yeah, I put an application for that. It laughed me off the stage.
Space Force?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do? Work a desk there?
I just wanted to put my.
I
put in a 4187 for Space Force, then they shot it down.
Who they?
Big Army. They kind of just laughed at me. I got a call and they're like, release Arm Pop, Space Force, really? Get the fuck out of here!
I did not know that. That's a reasonably funny story. I like that.
I'll probably tell it on the weekend.
That would be a good comedy episode. Pop applies for Space Force.
Yeah. And they're like, well, why would you want to be on Space Force? I go, listen.
Space Force.
You're going to need shooters up there at some point. I'm a pretty good shooter.
I'm a kid of the 70s. I grew up on Star Wars. Why do you think I'm applying to Space Force, you fucking idiots?
You could literally become Space Ghost, Pop.
Yeah, that would have been sweet.
Whoa. I hadn't thought of that.
That would have been cool.
That should be the name of the first Space Force infantry, the Space Ghosts.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, plans, scheming. I like it. Okay, now where were we?
Sorry. Went off way off in the weeds there.
Origins and backgrounds. What we're looking for is the actual pardons. This goes into a great amount of detail.
Now, you went back there and you said the word amnesty. Now, what exactly does that pertain to? Because I have a feeling sneaky little Bolshevik lawyers are going to use amnesty words to use the preemptive pardon thing.
No, you can't get around that. You can't use amnesty. I would have to look up the definition of amnesty right now. I can't think of what it means in this context, but that does not circumvent Article 2, Section 2. It's not a thing. Okay. Let's see.
It's crazy.
Symbolic use. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Controversial uses. The pardon power was controversial from the outset. Many anti-federalists remembered examples of royal abuses of the pardon power in Europe. We talked about that.
Yeah.
And more than the same would happen here in the New Republic. Critics such as the anti-federalists have argued that pardons have been used more often for the sake of... Well, shit. Didn't need to do that. Pardon me. In the 18th century, George Washington granted the first high-level federal pardon to leaders of the Whiskey Rebellion on his final day in office. We'd have to go into the Whiskey Rebellion. That'd probably actually be an interesting episode.
Yeah, well, a lot of people find it critically boring.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. In the 19th century, Andrew Johnson controversially issued sweeping pardons of thousands of former Confederate officials and military personnel after the American Civil War. And I don't understand why that was controversial. You had all of these guys who were technically part of what was an outright rebellion against basically Washington, D.C., which had invaded the South. And for the record, I'm pretty much on the side of the Southerners with a lot of this stuff. But they had to pardon those guys in the South.
Because you can't shut down half the country.
You can't shut down half the country.
Yeah.
You can't put that many guys in prison. And
you can't execute that many people either, because then hostility will just kick off again.
Diplomatic angle to this too, and it relates to that. If you just imprisoned all of these guys, that would probably have started a second civil war.
Yes. Or executed them.
Mm-hmm. Probably would have started a second civil war.
Well, the thing is why would they surrender if they knew they're going to either die in prison or get executed?
Yes, that is correct.
Then that's how you create an enemy that will literally fight to the death.
For record, there are many instances of the winning side granting pardons or clemency to the losing side for exactly those reasons. It's a way to diffuse the situation. It's a way to cool heads down. I think it's part of Robin Sage. I think there's
Towards the end, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
There's a part of Robin Sage where you take the bad guys and go, okay, go forth and do no more shooty things.
I didn't participate in that part.
I think it's there though.
It is. I didn't participate.
Okay. Anyway, other publicly controversial uses of the pardon powers include Jimmy Carter's grant of amnesty to Vietnam War era draft dodgers. Again, lots of those guys, and it really didn't hurt anything. George Bush's pardon of 75 people, including 6 Reagan administration people. What the fuck is wrong with me?
You gotta quit banging the balls off your chin.
Quit giving Casper a blowjob.
What's going on here? Quit banging the balls off your chin. Quit giving Casper a blowjob. Fuck you guys. Leave me alone.
Everyone gets fucked with.
Clinton pardoned 140 people. Everybody gets fucked with it. Clinton pardoned 140 people on his last day in office, including fugitive Mark Rich, and his own half-brother, Roger Clinton, was also heavily criticized. I don't think they should be allowed to pardon family members. I think that should be actually in there. President Trump pardoned Joe Arpaio. Let's see. Announced from Twitter that he pardoned his former National Secretary Advisor General Flynn. Flynn had pleaded guilty to 1 count of making a false statement to the FBI, an offense that prompted Trump to fire Flynn as his national security.
That was such bullshit.
It was such bullshit, and I know a little more about that than a lot of people do.
It's another show,
but that's another show entirely. Correct.
We can call that show Entrapment.
Okay. On December 1st, 2024, during his lame duck period, President Joe Biden issued a full and unconditional pardon to his son Hunter, who had been convicted on federal gun and tax evasion charges. The pardon also included any potential federal crimes that Hunter may have committed. There's the part where Article 2, Section 2 kicks in. He can't do that. You can't pardon potential crimes. In his statement, it says specifically in Article 2, Section 2, we read it. We read it together. We read it carefully. I underlined it in crayon. Maybe I didn't underline it in crayon, but I should have. Okay? You can't preemptively issue a pardon. There was a reversal of his previous promises that he would not use his clemency powers for his son. Of course not. In December 2024, U.S. President Biden commuted the sentences of 37 out of 40 individuals on federal death row, reducing their punishments to life imprisonment. To be honest with you, if I was in that position, just freaking do it, dude. I don't want to sit rotting in a prison. If it's gone that far where I've already been convicted of the death penalty, please just get it over with, because I don't want to sit there and think about it for another 50 years or however long I've got left in a jail cell.
Yep.
By myself. Please just get it the fuck over with. On January 20th, 2025, mere hours before his administration pardon ended, President Biden pardoned former Director Anthony Fauci, retired General Mark Milley, members of the House Select Committees that investigated the January 26, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. In his last minutes in office, Biden also pardoned an additional 5 members of his family, as well as his younger sister, Valerie Biden Owens, and her husband, John Owens. That same day, newly inaugurated President Trump pardoned 1,500 persons accused and convicted of illegal actions on January 6th. Yeah, but those people watched the videotapes. There wasn't any violence. That'd be ridiculous.
Well, there was a couple of guys doing stupid shit.
But you'll note that they had to add that at the end of all of the Biden pardons, where Biden was pardoning family members and the January 6th committee preemptively.
You can't do that.
In direct violation of Article 2, Section 2. And that's the controversy here, in my opinion. Okay? Some of the Biden pardons are going to get through. Okay. I don't like them, but that doesn't mean they're illegal.
But check this out. I already know what angle he's going to do.
Okay.
He's going to basically call into question either all of these blanket pardons or the pardon for his son.
Yeah.
So they're going to get, if this goes to court, they're going to get Biden on the stand and they go, what's it going to be? Your son or all these other people that you don't give a fuck about? It's one or the other. And he's gonna save his son.
Joe will probably die before that actually happens.
And I bet you they're hoping that'll happen. And in fact, if this does go to court, I am betting case
They'll
of
just-
beer.
They'll just push continuances until Joe croaks.
Or he gets his wrong heart medicines or something
Yeah.
like that.
Oh, do you mean they'll put a continuance or two in, and then, gosh, Joe died last night, slipped on the stairs,
Died in his sleep.
in bed, and choked on a saltine
Obama's
cracker.
hot dog.
Whose?
Obama's hot dog.
What
Big
TV,
Mike.
Larry or Mike?
Both.
Oh, too graphic. No.
Oh, we're doing that now,
No. Dick missile away.
huh?
Oh, God. Okay, so there you have it. That's the list of clemencies and everything. You'll find that in Wikipedia. But you'll note that in that last paragraph, it says Biden issued a bunch of illegal pardons, Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution. Teach people this. And then at the last minute, it says Trump pardoned all the people from January 6th, which was totally his prerogative because they had been convicted of federal crimes.
Well, there's another WikiLeaks in there where you can go through all the presidents and they'll show all of the pardon.
Every one of them.
I believe so.
Okay.
So we can actually look at the numbers. And it normally it's like 100 to 300 people.
Okay.
2,400.
We're there.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.